Much Gibraltar has changed in only the last 8 years. Imagine how much it has changed in the last 88 years. Because our next speaker has seen it all. She's seen from bombs being dropped on cities to men walking on the moon. Hers is a fascinating story, and here to look back at her life, please welcome our first speaker for the afternoon session of Gib Talks 2018, Lydia Armstrong Danino.
Hello, everybody. I'm a bit nervous. I've never been here before. I would like to start when I returned from Madeira, age 16 in 1945. I was very happy to be back home with my dad, and especially in our lovely, comfortable home. I realized then that we were quite privileged because there were a lot of people living in Nissan's huts and others crammed in relatives' homes. So we were very lucky. They had no potable water, or very few people had potable water. And therefore, there were not many people that had showers or bathroom. And even toilets had to be shared between families. So we were indeed very lucky. At home, we had no electrical gadgets. All the fridges were in my father's business. We had a piano at home, and we had a radio. The radio is what kept us informed, together with the newspaper, of what was going out in the world. Because we had no iPads, we had no television, we didn't have any of those things that you people all take for granted. If you wanted to get to somebody quickly, you had to make a call, a trunk call, which used to call it, and it was operator assisted. And you might be lucky or not, otherwise it was a telegram. There were no supermarkets with ready-to-cook meal, so nice for the housewife. We had to do everything ourselves. The biggest grocery stores were Trico in the south and Lipton downtown. The vegetables, the fish, the fruit was all brought from Spain and sold in the market. The meat, the beef, the chicken, and the rabbits at the butcher shops. Some of the street vendors used to go over the place with a horse and cart. There was no Marks and Spencer with affordable clothes to wear. For us, we had to go over to Casses or Vassadoni to buy the material. And for us, the young girls at home, the dressmaker there made everything that we needed. There were two marvelous shops. They were where we could get tweeds, blazers, gore skirts, and those lovely pure wool twin sets that you can't get anymore. They were Caruana and Garcia. Soon after I arrived, my father said he needed my help. I wanted to go back to school to take my school leaving exam, and if I helped him, I couldn't do that. But in any case, I went back to help him. That first week, he paid everybody there, all his men, and then he turned around to me and said, "Chamaca, here's for you. You can spend it however you like." £2, 10 shillings. A lot of money in those days, believe me. I went over and I started taking more dancing classes because I loved dancing. I was always dancing with my sister Clem in Madeira, and already in Gibraltar I had participated in everything that I could. Dancing was my life. I also started going to Elisa Carboni every day of the week so that I could take my school leaving certificate exam as I had wanted. A month after I came, I met a young man, an Englishman, 2.5 years older than me. He was very quiet. He was very pale. He did not dance. He had a girlfriend at home, but he was very clever. He told me he would help me with my studies. A few months later, he came very upset. "What's wrong?" "I have been transferred to Eritrea." "Why?" I said. Why do you want to go to Eritrea? The head office had found out that he was going out with a native, and that was bad. I said, a native? You mean a Gibraltarian, no? Silence. Well, you are a native too. All the English people in England are native. Everybody is native of some place or another. Anyway, he went. I did my exam. I did quite well. And I was eligible for one of the first John Mackintosh scholarship. My dad refused to let me go. Instead, I went to Seville to continue my dance studies. When I returned home, Dad had the house all done up so that I could have a studio, a cloakroom, and another bathroom. I started teaching straight away and put on shows at St. Joseph Parish Church Hall for charity. This was in the late 1940s, when I don't think any of the present-day dance teachers were even born. And I can truly say I was the first native Gibraltarian dance teacher to teach dancing, not only here, but all over the world. Early in 1949, Jack came back, and I was quite amazed. He was tall, he was slim, he had a healthy suntan. He looked at me with beautiful green eyes. And I thought, oh God, I hope he can dance. As he was reading my mind, he said, no, Lee, I can't. But you can teach me. I said, okay, I'll try. At the end of his leave, not only could he do a wonderful paso doble and tango, but he asked me to marry him. On the 17th of November, 1949, we were married at St. Joseph Church. Our honeymoon was an overland trip to England, where we had to get a chartered plane that took 1 whole week to get to Salisbury, southern Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe. We flew only in the daytime and very low because of the pressure. I knew absolutely nothing about Africa except what we saw in the cinema. When the first night I was there, and I heard all the ranting and chanting, and I was terrified. I thought they were going to come and take me away. But no, the boys were trying to get me, give me a big welcome, and they were dancing on top of tins, shuttling along with more tins around their ankles. Salisbury was a very primitive, you can say, place, almost like a cowboy town. Roderlecht House was the tallest building, and Mikkels Hotel, the only one worthwhile. In fact, it's in par with the Raffles Hotel in Singapore. Although an African country, you mainly saw white Rhodesians. The Africans were those in public service. We had no money. The company didn't give us anything at all. I had to go out to work. I went to a driving school, and I met a lady there who also got me the Sephardic hall for free and a group of girls for me to teach straight away. I reciprocated by dancing for their charities. Things improved a little, but not very much. So we decided to leave the house and go into a government hostel. It was not very nice. I had a little room. We had to go and bathe in communal bathrooms. We ate in communal dining room. The food was not very nice. But we were happy. We were happy because we were able to buy an old jalopy and do what all the other Rhodesians youngsters did, go off exploring to Chevanoya, Memory's Pool, Kwekwe, where there was a Loreto convent, Bulawayo, Amtali, and marvelous, unspoiled, wonderful Victoria Falls. The car filled with tins of water as it had a leaking radiator. But we enjoyed it. It was fun. Pure African magic, the fresh smell of earth after the rain, the silence of the starry nights, the hooting of the birds, and sudden appearance of the wild animals. Hilarious to be woken by those cheek little monkeys looking through the window of our car. They are memories never to be forgotten. On our second anniversary, Jack gave me a trip home for Christmas. I set sail alone from Beira, Portuguese East Africa. In Gib, the ship anchored away from the rock. No docks then. And we waited for the tender to take us ashore. My parents and sister came on board. Like se formó. I hardly recognized my sisters, all looking very sophisticated and smart next to me. I felt a frump. Laughingly, they said I looked like a missionary. They soon proceeded to give me a new look. Haircut, eyebrows black, mustache walked away, and new clothes given to me by my mom. I had been here 3 months when I received a letter from Jack, a telegram, I mean, and it said, "Are you coming back to me or what?" My mother said, "Hija, me parece que el inglés se está enfadando. Mejor que te regrese." Well, the company in Gibraltar made all the arrangements for me to go straight over, and Jack was waiting for me. This time he was in Kenya, where he had been sent, and here he had a home, we had servants, we had all the perks. We were well off compared to what we were before. Anyway, when he saw me in Mombasa and we rushed into each other's arms, he stopped, looked at me and said, "My God, Lee, what have they done to you? What have they done?" Man, honestly, you can't win. I loved Nairobi. Nairobi was a lovely city, and there were plenty of shops and restaurants and hotels and plenty of things to do. The beautiful, beautiful countryside, like Lake Naivasha with the flamingos, Langa, where there were races, we used to go over there. Anyway, I was bored, so I decided to go to work. This time I went to a car hire firm. In the same building, there were the Portuguese consulate was there, and he offered to give me the hall for free. And of course, I took the opportunity and I announced that I was giving classes, also keep fit to music. When he asked me to dance for him in a very big party that he was giving, I did. And a few days later, Shedave, the in-place, called me to see if I would dance. I said, yes. I went over to speak to them. The manager said, "What is your fee?" I had never asked for any money, so I didn't know. Pero como no soy tonta, le dije, "What will you give me?" And he said, £30. £30, I said. Well, all right, £35 and 4 tickets for dinner. And I was surprised because I was only getting £40 a month for working every day from 9 till 5. So I did very well. That was in 1952, when again I think I must have been the first Gibraltarian professional dancer. And I danced everywhere. There was no stopping me then. Hotels, clubs, everywhere that I could. My daughter Liana was born in Nairobi. She wasn't quite a year old when I had polio. When I recuperated from the polio, I put on a show. It was called Gay Fiesta, nothing to do with sexual tendency. He didn't know that. Anyway, it was very successful, and I also was asked to dance for the forces under General Sir George Erskine, who was there because of the Mau Mau situation. After that, we were ready to come because I had to learn how to shoot with a revolver. I had to take a whistle so that in case of any problem, I could whistle and people hopefully would come and help me. So we were quite pleased to go away. From here, we went over to Vigo, northern Spain, which was more like Scotland than anywhere else because of the gaitas and the cold weather, and not the sunny Spain that we knew. I was only there for 13 months, and my mother was able to come, and I was able to come and see them. And from here, we went to Brazil. Brazil. Brazil with the Pau de Açúcar, the Cristo Corcovado, also beautiful. In Rio, we stayed in the Guanabara Palace Hotel, downtown, until our flat was being redecorated in Leblon. It was Christmas time, or very near, and the sound of jingle bells and silent night, mixed up with the batucadas, with the batucadas, it was very exhilarating, and I felt that I would never felt so alive. It seems to me I have gone by the time. Am I allowed to finish? Okay. Thank you very much. Anyway, in Brazil, I had a first television program with TV Tupi. We joined the naturalist colony. We modeled for the painter maestro Ilio Buruni, I becoming his muse. Both families remained friends, and I last saw them a year before Ilio passed away in 2060, aged 99, leaving a widow 32 years younger than him. I held 3 interesting jobs, one as secretary for the Kaiser Group, another as a private secretary to Sami Cohen of Companhia Colonizadora do Brasil, a brilliant man, and as private secretary to Dr. Martin Little of Point 4 Education Division, American Embassy. My duties included interpreting and translating for the consulate, as well as taking minutes of the meetings when the 2 governments got together. In San Juan de Puerto Rico, I returned to my studies at the Universidad de Rio Piedras. I introduced President Kennedy Physical Education Program in the Colegio Santa Teresita, where I also taught health and etiquette. San Juan was lovely and very family-orientated. We were very happy there. It was like home and a beautiful island. In mystical and mysterious Peru, with amazing Machu Picchu and Arequipa via many oases, I worked at Colegio Villa María de la Planicie, teaching English, physical education, dance workshop. My pupils won first grade while I was there. Then 2 years in England, when I returned to my studies, this time in St. Mary's College, Strawberry Hill. There were numbers of Gibraltarians, but one said named Shishon actually helped me one day when there had been a bomb scare. From England to Manila, where I opened a very successful studio and worked together with the Parañaque Makati Medical Association. Then the prestigious Manila Mandarin Hotel to set up, train the staff, and direct their health club. I participated in various dance shows for charity, as well as straight acting in the house of Bernarda Alba. Great professionally, but very difficult to adjust to their culture. From Manila to exciting, noisy Hong Kong, where I had my second television program, Keep Fit with Ana Lydia, and had my successful studio. I wrote for the South China Morning Post and was beauty consultant for Eve magazine. I was also a founder member of Women in Business. We returned to England to a house in Hampton in 1980 when my husband took early retirement. Unfortunately, we could not get used to the cold weather and lifestyle, and in 1983, we returned home to Gibraltar. In Gibraltar, I participated in GBC Diana Hamilton's Mirror Mirror program, directed by Joan Berry, doing Keep Fit and Dancing. Prior to this, I appeared many times, interviewed by Julio Torres, Peter Canessa, and shows with Clive Gold, Richard Cartwright, and David Hoare. I had the Keep Fit program in English TV Marbella. I was a founder member of the now defunct Gibraltar National Party with our present Deputy Chief Minister, Dr. Garcia. I wrote a weekly column for 15 years in Panorama, took up painting, wrote 2 books, The Snake and the Tiger and Chasing Rainbows. On our 50th wedding anniversary, we revisited Zimbabwe. We actually stayed at the Mikos Hotel. The country was in a devastating way. You hardly saw any white people other than the tourists. We had to go with a guard everywhere out of town and pay as well fees. The Victoria Falls was very commercialized. For Liana's 50th birthday, we took her and youngest grandson to Nairobi. It was booming and great to see how the women had developed and found their place in society. We thoroughly enjoyed that. Now, in Gibraltar, we, we live in a small, well, not too small flat, but only has one shower and one toilet that we often run to see who is going to get there first. Ironically, I do have what I didn't have in my youth. I have 2 landlines, I have 2 mobiles, 2 television, and to show you that at my age, I still keep up with all the modern trends, I have an iPad, I have a computer with a Skype, I have a printer, and I have a rabbit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lydia Armstrong Danino. Thank you for your story.